When was the last time you really thought about horses? Not just as animals, but as companions that have been with us for thousands of years. They carried people into battles, guided explorers to new worlds, and became symbols of strength and freedom. Hi, I'm Adriana, and welcome to Gallop Through the Ages. This isn't just an exhibition about porcelain, it's a story of history told through horses. Each Lladró horse here is more than just a sculpture. It's a little time capsule, reflecting the era it was made in, the art styles of the moment, and the lives of the people who shaped it. So as we go through, take a breath, slow down, and just notice the textures, the details, the way each one seems to carry its own spirit, almost like it's quietly sharing its story with you. The first piece is Unbreakable Spirit. Unbreakable Spirit speaks in the language of the Hellenistic world, an era when art broke away from ideals of perfection and embraced the raw, unpredictable nature of life itself. The story begins with Alexander the Great, whose conquests in the 4th century BCE reshaped the ancient world. From Greece to Egypt and as far east as India, Alexander carried not only armies but also ideas, fusing culture and leaving behind a legacy of exchange and transformation. In art, this meant a shift away from the calm balance of the classical period. Instead, artists of the Hellenistic age sought drama, movement, and emotion. They captured not just how bodies looked, but how they felt: tense, vulnerable, unyielding. Horses played a significant role in this world. In ancient Greece, horse ownership itself was a marker of wealth and prestige, since only the elite could afford to raise and train them. Riders competed in Olympic events, generals commanded from horseback, and kings, including Alexander, were often remembered alongside their horses. To the Greeks, a horse in motion carried the spirit of power itself, alive with both grace and resistance. That is exactly what we see in this sculpture. The horse is not calm or posed. It rears, caught in the instant of struggle. Muscles tighten, nostrils flare, the mane whips with energy. It resists gravity itself. In this moment, it becomes more than a faithful companion to humans. It becomes a symbol of force and willpower, of something untamed. Can you feel that tension? The sense that it could leap free at any second? To give you a sense of what the art in this period looked like, let's take a quick look at some examples from the Hellenistic world. You can see pieces like Lacon and his sons with its twisting bodies full of drama, or this marble Aphrodite where the pose and drapery feel alive with movement. Notice the same qualities we just talked about: tension, vulnerability, and a focus on raw emotion rather than calm perfection. Now, as you look back at Lladró's Unbreakable Spirit, do you notice the similarities? The energy in the muscles, the sense of struggle, even the way the form feels as if it could break free of the material at any second. This horse carries the same spirit that defined the Hellenistic age. And then there is the material. Lladró chose pure matte white porcelain with no painted details, no gilded embellishments. This decision draws directly from our collective memory of Greek and Roman statuary. For centuries, we have imagined those statues as white marble forms, silent and timeless, but in truth, the originals were anything but plain. Archaeologists have uncovered traces of vivid paint, deep blues, reds, and golds that once covered those surfaces. Time stripped the color away, leaving behind the whiteness we know today. Over centuries, that accidental transformation reshaped our imagination. White marble became the symbol of classical beauty, restraint, and clarity. Porcelain, however, allows us to see this whiteness anew. Its luminous surface captures the light softly, revealing every muscle, every curve, every shadow of the horse. It doesn't need color to speak. It invites the eye to linger on form alone, on the strength in the body and the motion in the pose. And now we move on to the second horse. This piece, Horse's Group, is inspired by a pivotal period in art history, the late Renaissance, specifically the Mannerist movement, exemplified by artists like El Greco. He was a Greek-born artist known for his elongated figures, dramatic poses, and bold use of color. Mannerism arose in the early 16th century as a reaction to the harmonious balance and idealized proportions of the High Renaissance. Artists began experimenting with elongated figures, exaggerated forms, and dramatic tension, aiming to evoke emotion rather than simply replicate the natural world. Look closely at these three black horses. At first glance, you see their strength and energy, but notice the elongation of their forms, the twisting of their necks, and the tension in their muscles. This is a hallmark of Mannerist influence. The figures are slightly exaggerated to convey movement and emotional intensity beyond literal representation. Just as El Greco stretched human forms, Lladró elongates these horses to communicate raw power and drama. Mannerism artists were fascinated by instability and transformation. In Horses group, you could almost sense the horses straining forward, synchronized yet distinct, as if frozen mid-gallop in a moment of heightened energy. Each horse interacts with the others through subtle shifts in posture and direction, creating tension and balance simultaneously, a careful choreography that mirrors Mannerism's pursuit of complexity and emotional engagement. And then there's the finish, true matte black porcelain. It's one of the most difficult effects to master. The surface absorbs light instead of reflecting it, which makes every curve, every muscle in the horse stand out with even more intensity. What's beautiful about this material is its honesty. The black isn't a coating or a glaze, it's the porcelain itself. So what you see is what you get, and because it's naturally UV resistant, that deep velvety tone will just stay as rich for years to come without fading. Now moving on to the Spanish purebred horse, Lladró's newest limited edition release, inspired by the Baroque period. The Baroque period, spanning roughly 1600 to 1750, began in Rome and soon swept across Europe. It was an age when art was meant to move you, not quietly, but with power and emotion. Churches rose with swirling ceilings and gilded altars. Paintings by artists like Caravaggio and Rubens used dramatic light, bold colors, and intense motion to capture the human spirit. Nothing in the Baroque period was restrained. It was a style of grandeur, theatre, and ornament. This appetite for spectacle extended beyond painting and architecture into courtly life, and here the horse played a starring role. In Spain, the Andalusian horse, today known as the Spanish purebred, became a living emblem of nobility. With its arched neck, strong yet elegant body, and natural ability for collected, dance-like movements, the breed embodied the same qualities prized in Baroque art: strength fused with grace, power expressed with flourish. These qualities were celebrated at the Royal Andalusian School of Equestrian Art in Jerez, where horses and riders performed choreographed displays so refined were often described as ballet on horseback, a living performance of the Baroque ideal. Now, Spanish purebred sculpture translate that spirit into porcelain. Look at the posture, head lifted, three leg raised as if caught mid-performance in an equestrian display. The saddle, blanket, and halter shimmer with metallic and gold luster, recalling the ornate embroidery and gilded decoration of Baroque interiors. The sculpture sits on a base that feels like a dark, rich earth, decorated in brown enamels with subtle metallic highlights. The metallic luster brings together the legacy of the Spanish purebred and the elegance of Baroque ornamentation, while also showcasing a modern technique that simply wouldn't have been possible just 20 years ago. Even the mane, carefully braided, mirrors the refinement and ceremony of the age. Now let's look at how this horse connects to the broader world of Baroque art. Here you see works like Bernini's bust of Pope Innocent X and Algardi's Fuga d'Italia. And of course, fountains like the Four Rivers explode with energy, ornament, and grandeur. Notice the drama, the theatrical gestures, the sense that everything is alive and in motion, even in stone. Think back to the Lladró horse, its proud posture, one leg lifted as if pausing mid-performance, its body gleaming with gilded detail. This is why the Spanish purebred was such a fitting subject. It was already, in its own way, a living Baroque performance. Majestic, theatrical, and unforgettable. It reminds us that in this period, art was never still. It demanded to be seen, to impress, and to leave its mark. Moving on to the horse bookends, this horse is captured mid-performance straight from the world of Spanish classical dressage. It rears into a courbette balanced gracefully on its hind legs, And this isn't a random gesture, it's a movement rooted in centuries of tradition. The courbette is a test of discipline, strength, and elegance, showcasing the harmony between horse and rider. Look closely at the saddles, broad and deeply seated. Lladró has captured every detail: the raised cantle, flared panels, and subtle ornamental flourishes inspired by repujado, a leather embossing technique that turns saddles into miniature works of art. What makes this version of the horses especially remarkable is the enameling on the saddle. Enamel is a centuries-old technique originating as far back as 1600 BC, in which powdered glass is melted onto a surface, originally metal, and here porcelain. Once fired, it fuses to the material, creating a glossy, colored layer that cannot be achieved with paint or glaze alone. Now consider the Art Deco influence. This style, flourishing from the 1920s to 1940s, was built on the principles of symmetry, clean lines, and controlled ornamentation. Art Deco sought harmony between utility and beauty, and horses became a recurring motif, symbols of modernity, elegance, and disciplined power. Next, we have Gallop 3. This piece takes inspiration from a pivotal moment in the history of both art and science, the year 1878, when English photographer Edward Muybridge forever changed the way we understand movement. At the time, people were still debating a seemingly simple question: when horse gallops, do all four hooves ever leave the ground at once? Even painters and sculptors, those who had been depicting horses for centuries, couldn't agree. Their answers were based on intuition rather than observation, often showing horses in mid-gallop with legs stretched out like a rocking horse. Muybridge set out to answer this question using a brand new technology, photography. He arranged a series of cameras along a racetrack, each triggered by a tripwire as the horse passed. What resulted was groundbreaking, a sequence of still images capturing each stage of a gallop with precise mechanical clarity. And what he discovered shocked the art world. Yes, all four hooves do leave the ground, but not in the position artists had assumed. Instead of being stretched out, the horse briefly tucks its legs under its body like a spring mid-flight. Let's slow down for a second. Can you find the frame where the horse is completely airborne? It's a blink and you miss that moment, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. That single incident completely changed how artists thought about depicting motion, and it's that fleeting energy Lladró captures in Gallop 3. This revelation wasn't just trivia, it shattered centuries of visual tradition. Muybridge's work became the foundation for motion studies, animation, and even early cinema. He gave artists and scientists a new language for movement, one grounded in observation but bursting with creative potential. And that's the spirit Gallop 3 taps into. It doesn't just illustrate a horse so much as it freezes time, giving form to the split-second moment when muscle, momentum, and gravity intersect. It's not just about beauty, it's about breakthroughs. And now we arrive at our final piece, A True Friend. This sculpture belongs to the early 2000s, a period marked by Remodernism, a movement that emerged as a reaction to the conceptual and postmodern art of the late 20th century. Unlike the irony, abstraction, and intellectual puzzles of postmodernism, Remodernism values sincerity, craftsmanship, and emotional depth. Artists sought to reconnect with universal human truths, expressing emotion, resilience, and spirituality through their work. In A True Friend, this philosophy is brought vividly to life. The woman embraces the horse with a solemn, contemplative expression, a quiet moment of trust, companionship, and mutual understanding. Unlike a painting where an emotion can be suggested from a single viewpoint, a three-dimensional work demands that the facial expression resonates from all angles, so the viewer experiences the connection no matter where they stand. The subtle tilt of her head, the gentle positioning of her hands, and the calm attentiveness of the horse evoke a powerful emotional response, inviting us as the viewer to reflect on our own experiences of empathy and connection. Take a moment to notice the flower in the woman's hair. Lladró's artisans create each flower petal by petal, meticulously hand-shaping, painting, and glazing every individual piece to suit the sculpture's composition. For over 400 types of flowers in different sizes, the process ensures that each arrangement is balanced and harmonious. This incredible craftsmanship gives the sculpture a delicate, almost lifelike feel, capturing the fine details while also bringing out the deep emotion of the piece. A true friend exemplifies the Remodernism values of the early 2000s, honesty, emotion, and personal connection. The horse here is also Spanish purebred. Notice its curved neck, iconic to the Andalusian, yet it's completely different from the limited edition. This horse is soft and simple, just pure white with enameling for texture, but still enough to capture your gaze. It reminds us that art doesn't always need grandeur or spectacle to leave an impression. Sometimes the quietest gestures, an embrace, a shared gaze, a single flower, can speak the loudest. And with that, our journey through time comes to an end. From the drama of the Hellenistic period to the quiet, heartfelt moments of Remodernism, each horse has carried not just porcelain, but centuries of human imagination, artistry, and emotion. Thank you so much for joining us at Gallop Through the Ages.